Here we are again, it's 2025, and you're still playing Rome 2? Hell yeah. But first, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Glenn, and how you guys doing? And welcome to our new series, which I would like to call Rome 2's Faction Focus. So in this little series, I'm going to try to get as many factions as I can, and just make small videos, hopefully 5 to 10 minute videos, showing off that faction, their strength, their weaknesses, a campaign map, and all that jazz to make sure that you can get a good choice on what faction to play and what campaign you want to play for Rome 2. So let's start off with the main menu screen, and for today I have chosen the Iceni, the only faction that is available for the Britannic tribes. So what I want to do with the series, I'm going to pre-record like 2 or 3 of these, and from there on I'm just going to look at the comments, see which faction would you like me to do a deep dive on, and with that we can just see how far we can get down the line. Because honestly, I don't know if I can get through all of them, because that would take me to like fucking July or some shit like that for one video every week. But just let's see based on the comments on how far we can get and what factions do you want me to focus on. So today we are focusing on the Iceni. So as we can see over here, they do have pretty good stats, passive stats. So we have a warrior society, so +2 public order for every war against a neighboring faction, which you're probably always going to have. So you're always going to have a passive +2 public order in your cities, which is absolutely great. And heroic culture +20% charge bonus when attacking. That is, for some of the units, that is really good. So we have an initial easy starting challenge, and I can somewhere agree to that, and otherwise I would like to debate that a little bit, but more of that is in a little bit later on. And you do have a good economy building as well, because you get like 20% wealth from agricultural buildings, and you get some moderate diplomatic bonuses with some factions. So diplomatic wise, you do have your options open to you. So I'm just gonna quickly get towards the campaign map. So here we are on the campaign map. As we see, we start off the Iceni with one city, Camaldonum, which I would say like is basically London or some shit like that. We have 2 armies with some mercenaries, some spears, some slingers, and over here is a little basic trash army as well. So from this starting position, you can see there is the first easy option is to probably expand over here. So early game expansion options are pretty straightforward. You start a war with these guys, the Demate. So you take out them. Iska will probably try to be your friend, lash you on a very high difficulty. They might prove some troublesome. But otherwise, your expansion is pretty straightforward with going over here, and then take out this one. It does get a little bit more challenging trying to go towards the Abdani, because they tend to sit there with a 20 stack in their city, which has a pretty decent garrison and boat garrison as well. So the first expansion options are pretty straightforward. Where it does get a little bit more challenging is when you consolidated this. Your economy should be pretty much okay. But declaring war on one of these factions of the mainland can prove a little bit troublesome, because in the time you do conquer the Britannic Isles, over here some of the factions tend to be pretty passive or just have an alliance. So you're facing overwhelming numbers here most of the time in these cities with like 20 stack garrisons. And pretty build-up garrisons as well. So your expansion over here is gonna be troublesome in the beginning, because you do have like the normal Celtic culture. So public order wise, you're gonna be okay, but building up your army and your cities, and just having to transport all your armies over the seas can get quite challenging if you don't have a decent economy build-up. So if you start to go towards the mid game, my advice would be to start either conquering this city, which is a provincial capital. So you have, it's pretty close, and you have walls to defend yourself. So this city is easier to defend. But let's say if you want nothing at your back, this city over here is a pretty well defendable city as well. It's a little bit far off, but if you take a look, like the cities that are near it are pretty far away, and your territory is pretty big, so you can always see your enemies coming that way. So for expansion options and early and the mid game, I feel like the Iceni are a pretty good faction to start out with, due to their like isolated territory over here that you can have fun with. And once you've mastered the early game and mastered a little bit how the Iceni work and fight, then you can expand into the mainland. So if we take a look at what the Iceni have to offer army-wise. So like I said, you start with only one city, pretty decent garrison for an early game city. And your first probably building that you want to build is either one of the red buildings. If the craftsman's house, you can start to build some skirmishers, and if we start to upgrade these buildings over here, we can see we can work towards artillery, ballistas, scorpion onagers, and the big artillery pieces, although that would probably be pretty far away from now. More likely, this building is not too bad. Like, you get some stuff, and the only thing you can get is painted ones, which for the price are pretty decent, with a very decent charge bonus. So if you're attacking with a 20% extra charge bonus, these guys can get pretty brutal, but they have like very low armor stats, so they will die very quickly quite often. So your safest bet is probably to start building the Artisan Lodge, which gives you a sword band, and which these guys are pretty, I don't would say good, but they're pretty cost effective against like the early tier spears and the mercenary spears. And for that upkeep price, they're pretty cheap. Like 90 upkeep is not that good. They have pretty decent stats, but low armor pen. So due to the mid and the late game, these guys are just not going to cut it. But if we start to take a look at upgrades, this is where the tier 3 is where your actual powerhouse units are coming from. So you get the chosen sword bands and the chosen spear band. If we take a look, 34 or 33 and 40 compared to, wait, where are my sword bands? Over here. 25 and 40. So we have a lot more melee attack, and you have a lot more armor to your disposal and a lot more defense to your disposal as well. So these guys can hold for ages, basically. You also get the chariots, which is a little bit of a niche unit. They can be really good and really effective if you know how to use them. But as how basically all the barbarian factions on the mainland do have precursor javelins, chariots are a little bit risky, although sometimes they can be quite fun to use. I've gotten battles with like 600-700 kills on chariots if you use them right. And this is, of course, the heroic nobles are just insanely good, but they are expensive, and that's just absolutely late game. So as we've talked about this, what would I rate this faction for kind of challenge campaigns? Challenge campaigns can be really fun. One that I usually tend to do on the channel are This is Total War, where you declare war on everyone. So you have no friends, everyone is at war with you. And for the This is Total War campaign, the Iceni is a very good starting, because you can pretty well defend Camalodunum from everything that's coming in overseas, because they have to travel quite far as well. But once you conquered the British Isles, the invasion of the mainland does get quite challenging with the This is Total War campaign. So if you are up for a challenge, I would definitely recommend the Iceni for a This is Total War campaign, just to see how far you can get into the mainland and still trying to defend your homelands as well. So with that being said, what do I want to rate this out of 10? Honestly, this is the first one I'm doing, so I have no idea what to rate how to rate. But I would like to say the Iceni is a very solid campaign with a lot of fun and quite a few challenges ahead of you. Since in late game, once you encounter Rome, your troops are just qualitatively less good than the Romans. So you do get towards challenges where you have to circumvent a lot more heavier units. So tactics is more than just brunt force. Other resolve wise, I don't think the Iceni are that good. You're probably better off fighting a lot of battles yourself against the other barbaric tribes. So I would definitely rate this like 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10, just for a fun campaign. So I think with that we have done. I've covered most of what I want to cover. Yeah, diplomatic wise, it's not too bad, and victory objective wise, you just have to take a shit ton of territory. So you have to take Britannia, but you also have to take fucking Athens and Italy, Macedon, and Magna Germania. So basically, if you want to finish this campaign, you just have to take this entire part of the map, which is a fun challenge on its own. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, I also want to finish this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, do leave some suggestions in the comments on what faction I should do a focus on next. Can be any one of the factions. If it's a DLC faction as well, I'll make sure to pick that one as well. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Hopefully if you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you are interested in more of these videos. They will be posted once a week. On what day I'm not so certain just yet. Just need to fit it into the schedule. But you can definitely expect more. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!